Hello, my name is Carmen Davenport from Black Dollar Indie, and you have tuned in to Get the Bag Business, Assets, and Gains, where we talk to local businesses about their journey, some challenges, and their success. So today we have with us Kimberly Janelle, CEO of Kimberly Janelle Enterprises.
Yes.
Did I get that right?
You did. You did.
So how are you today?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good.
So before we get started, I want to talk about the person behind the product or service. So tell me a little bit about Kimberly Janelle. Who is Kimberly Janelle?
Wow. A woman. I am a wife, a mom of 2 adult children, which I'm learning how to be a mom of adult
Okay.
people. A lover of God, a lover of people. And I'm somebody that is stepping into, or should I say owning, my genius.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Owning your genius.
Yeah.
Okay. So you knew it was there.
It's been there. I think I got the wrong definition of humility and being humble.
Oh, tell us about that.
Yeah. Growing up, you don't talk much about yourself.
Yeah.
Talk about how smart you are or how easy things come for you, because it's considered bragging, it's being arrogant. And there were even times where it was kind of connected to spirituality, almost like God wouldn't be pleased if I talked about how smart I was, or I don't know. It was a really confusing, as I look back on it now, it was really confusing. And it's taken me all this time to realize that humility or being humble is not speaking about myself and who I am.
Right.
It's speaking about myself less. Not speaking less of myself. So I've always thought that I've had to downplay how smart I was, downplay my creativity and my genius. But it's not that at all. It's speaking of myself less, and so yeah, I'm owning that.
Well, I'm proud that you're in that season.
Thank you.
And I think it's important that other people hear that. Someone said to me before, if you don't talk about the good in you, how can the other person listening to you be inspired?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I appreciate that, and I think that a lot of people could get a lot from just hearing you say that.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of you for that.
Thank you.
I am.
I love that quote that you just gave, because it kind of speaks to, when I think about it even more. I was born and raised in church, and there's this scripture in the Bible that talks about we overcome by the testimony. But if I never get to speak of myself, or if I never speak myself, then how can anybody overcome?
That's right.
If I don't share that,
That's
right? And so, and that's where the confusing part was for me as I got older. Like, how can you share and help somebody else if I'm not really supposed to talk about all the things?
Exactly.
So it was just crazy. So I've been doing a lot of unlearning and relearning, and that's a big thing for me right now. Just owning my genius.
I love
it.
And
being okay with that.
I love that. Own your genius.
Yeah.
That's a word. That's a word. That could preach. I'm gonna tell you, that could preach.
Yeah.
So tell us about how Kimberly Janelle Enterprises got started. Like, what made you, like, where did it come from? Tell us about that.
Kimberly Janelle Enterprises is a boutique firm. We specialize in helping entrepreneurs create audit-proof businesses. So basically, making sure you're not leaving money on the table, right? We hear all the time about millionaires not paying taxes and billionaires not paying taxes, and sometimes we hear about people taking all of these trips and we're wondering how they're doing them and all of these different things. Well, all of that is tax strategy. And typically in our neighborhoods, we're not talking about that. right?
At all.
Ain't nobody talking about business trips versus going on vacation. Nobody's talking about, well, let me not say that. People are talking about taking trips, but they're not talking about the strategy behind how you do
Right.
it legally,
Yeah.
right? Hiring your kids. There's a strategy. There's a way to do that. I was working for General Motors and was working there for probably 7 or 8 years, making really good money, but bored out of my mind. And I kept telling my dad, like, I'm supposed to be doing something else. Like, this cannot just be it for me. And so the day came, as things started changing, my plant was closing. And they said, well, you can either transfer to another location or you can find something else to do. And I'm like, I'm going to find something else to do. So I don't remember the timing of when it happened, but I remember seeing a sign that H&R Block was doing their tax class. So they would have a tax class in October, November for their upcoming season. I'm like, well, I'm good with numbers. I like math. Maybe this is the thing. And took the class, and that's when I fell in love with tax. Fell in love with tax. So that was 2006, 2007. And then I went to college and was taking college classes to get my degree. I thought accounting and tax was the same thing. I got about halfway through that thing and was like, it's kind of like you think it's greens, but it's spinach.
Yes.
Look the same, not the same. But I got the degree, went on and got the degree. But I found these loopholes, how millionaires, business owners can do certain things when you have a business and it's legal and you don't pay tax and reduce. I found it.
You found the sauce.
I found it and got stuck right there.
Wow.
And so, but I was still scared to legitimize the business. Isn't that's crazy? I was scared to say this is what I'm in business doing. So for probably about 3 or 4 years, I was the family tax girl. I was a neighborhood tax girl. I got into arts and entertainment, and I find myself on set waiting to do a commercial. And I hear people doing the actor talk like, well, how many agencies are you with? And do you do this full time? And then I would hear people say, well, yeah, I had to buy some things. And I drove up last night and stayed overnight, so I would be here. And I'm like, did you keep your receipt? You know, you can, that's a business expense. Yes. You can write that off. So some of my creative friends were like, you do know that we don't know none of that. Like, you just kind of rattling that off like that's common knowledge. We don't know none of that.
Right.
Now, I fell in love with tax 2007. It wasn't until 2014 that I started doing some organized programming behind it.
Okay.
I was just kind of telling people as I seen them, and as people would send people to me, then I would share. But 2019, I created the Entrepreneurs Business Club. And I was specifically targeting like creatives, actors, singers, producers, models, photographers, all those people. But what I realized was they didn't want to learn. They didn't want to learn how to keep up with stuff.
They want you to do it.
They want you to do it.
Yeah.
They just want you to do it. But they don't have no money either.
Oh, okay.
Okay, they don't have no money either. I don't have no money, and I just need you to do it. I don't have time. I'm hustling. So I kind of got burnt out from trying to help. And I was helping for a long time, trying to help people. And then they wouldn't do what I was asking them to do. You want me to do this, but then you're not doing your part. So kind of got burnt out. But it wasn't until, that was 2014. It was 2019 when I finally made a decision like, okay, I ain't going nowhere. This is kind of my jam. And so I established my business in February. It was actually February 2018 is when I finally established a business. But I had been doing stuff for 10, 11 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's part of not owning my genius. Just too afraid to say, this is what I do. This is what I do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ain't that crazy? Yeah.
Well, thank you for owning your genius.
Thank you. Thank you for thanking me. It feels good.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
So I know that you've pivoted. You've had to pivot a little bit.
A couple times.
And so talk to us about the challenges that you faced during the times where you're like, you know what, I need to pivot. Like, what were some of the defining moments where you knew that you needed to pivot? Because some people don't know that they need to pivot, or they don't pivot at all, right? So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. There was one time in particular now where I kind of stayed as far as helping people in my clientele. I stayed right in the range where I got a business idea. I'm kind of doing some stuff, but not really. But I'm still working a full-time job. And I'm like, but that's a business. You have a business, right? There came a point where, and it was an intimidating moment. I kind of got pushed into pivoting because I met my tax mentor. Now, this was during probably one of the darkest periods of my life. Darkest period of my life. I had not been working for, I don't know, maybe a year and a half. Had got married. He was like, I don't want you to work, kind of do your thing. So I had separated from the whole tax thing and was doing some other stuff. Well, then we get a divorce. That whole thing we were doing together, dead, right? So then I have to go back and find my life because I had created my life around this thing that we were doing. So I had to go back and pick up these pieces. And so I found my tax mentor. And I don't know if you are familiar with this lady or not, but she, the Budgetnista, Tiffany Aliche.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
So my tax mentor had this course that she was selling at the time to teach tax professionals how to do higher level services, not just doing tax returns, but can you help people get out of tax trouble, tax resolution? Can you help people put together tax plans so that in the upcoming year, they put things in place so that they don't owe as much in tax, right? Well, I'd always was very curious about those things, but again, didn't think that I was going to be smart enough, all the things. I had fed into a whole bunch of lies during this time period. So I get on Facebook and I see her and I remember inboxing her and I'm like, I would really love your class. I want to know more about that. I have no money. I'm starting over. And I said, could I just be like your assistant? Do you need me to type stuff? Do you need me to, whatever you need me to do? I just kind of want to glean and learn. And so she responds and says, well, I don't have any money to pay you, but maybe we can jump on a call and I can see what you have to offer me. And so we jump on a call and I'm pouring it out. I'm like, in this law and this, I'm just telling her everything that I know. And she got off the call and sent me an email and she said, I don't know what it is about you. I typically never say yes in these situations.
Oh, wow.
But I wanna see where this could go. And she started out by sending me some copy to proofread and she's saying, show me where my holes are if you see anything. So I had this ridiculously long email. I'm like, yeah, you forgot this and what about da-da-da-da-da? And we get on a call after that and she said, you thinking that I'm changing your life, but I'm wondering, where have you been?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Where have you been?
Wow.
Because she's a visionary, high level thought, right?
Yeah.
I'm very analytical, and so I can see what she's trying to say, but I see the things that she's missed in what she's trying to say. And it could be very confusing if she just said what she said versus adding those things in. She pulled me into her agency, and I was able to work on $1 million accounts.
Praise God.
And when she's telling me who owns the accounts and who the people are connected. And I'm like, these are people that we hear about in the news and we, big brands. And so I was pushed, like, if you want to learn from me, this where we at. Come scoot up to this table over here. And so it made me reconsider what I really could do.
Wow.
And that was one of the moments where the phrase, your comfort zone is your failure zone. And if you stay there, you die.
That.
Oh yeah. I had a coach that used to say that all the time. Your comfort zone is your failure zone. You stay comfortable, you can forget it.
Yeah, it makes great sense.
Yeah.
So you talked about thinking that accounting and bookkeeping were the same.
Yeah.
So which are you? Are you accountant, bookkeeper, both? Like, what What services do you offer?
Yeah, good question. So accounting and bookkeeping are the same, but accounting and tax are
Okay.
cousins.
Cousins.
Yeah, they like cousins.
Okay.
Are you ready for food, fun, music, and networking? Well, Edna Martin Christian Center is hosting its 2025 Entrepreneurship Showcase, May 17th from 11 to 4 at the Frederick Douglass Park Family Center, 1616 East 25th Street. It is free, absolutely free to the community, and multiple vendors will be selling products and services. Again, that's May 17th from 11 to 4 at the Frederick Douglass Park Family Center. This event is sponsored by IAAQLI.
Can I do bookkeeping? Yes. Am I the definition of an accountant is really just somebody who analyzes transactions and can make recommendations and whatever.
Mhm.
Can I do that? Absolutely. But where I love to live, what I call myself as a tax strategist.
Yes.
I like to look at what you've done, see how you operate your business, go back from the very beginning, see what you have in place. I want to know what your goals are. What do you have planned for this year? Based on that, we go back and fill in holes. And then I also tell you looking forward, this is what you need to keep track of. This is how you need to keep track of it.
So
Yeah.
tax strategist.
Tax strategist.
I like that.
Yeah.
So you provide the strategies
Yes.
to fill in those blanks. Do what the rich folk do.
Yeah. I have people say, well, I need a CPA, right? Or I got a CPA. And I'm like, that's great. The CPA is going to take your little folder and they're going to say, is everything here? And then they're going to go do what
They're
they
gonna
do.
file the taxes and we done.
But who teaches you what to put in the folder?
The strategist.
The
That's
strategist.
You. That's you.
Teaches you what to put in the folder.
Definitely.
CPAs are not going to, most of them, let me say that. Most CPAs are not going to teach you how to benefit from the tax law. Their obligation is to make sure that you do not break the tax code. Their obligation is to the IRS, compliance with the IRS. My obligation is to my client. I want to hear what you're trying to do, and I'm going to tell you how to do it so that you don't break the law. The CPA is not going to teach you how to make a birthday trip a business trip, what you need to do to classify it as a business trip.
Yeah.
A strategist will, though.
Oh, I know.
I know you know.
She's my tax strategist. So
Yes.
I know.
Yeah.
And I came into it like, you were like, are you tracking your mileage? I was like, my what?
Yo, I was like, all this running around the city you doing, ma'am?
Yeah. So I think it's important for people to know that the tax strategist is the person with the blueprint, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's you.
That's me.
And we need you first.
Yeah.
Before we go and do everything. You need that blueprint
Yeah.
before you do everything else. So
Yep. Don't get rid of the bookkeeper. Don't get rid of the CPA. You need a team.
yeah.
And maybe you don't need to talk to me but 2 or 3 times a year. At the beginning of the year, maybe some stuff is going on mid-year, end of the year, to make sure that you did everything right throughout the year. And then you got a plan going into the top of the year. But yeah, you need a team. When you build a business, you need a team. And I'm just part of that team.
Okay. And then what are some of the things that Kimberly Janelle Enterprises is doing right now and looking ahead 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now? What does that look like for Kimberly Janelle Enterprises?
I'm in a beautiful space in my business, probably because I'm in a beautiful space in my life. Owning that genius has been everything. And so I am really focused on, I've kind of rebranded myself as the money coach. Most people know me as the tax lady and they kind of stay there. But the tax lady she could do my taxes. No, even in tax, I do way more than that. And I had a coach that was like, you should consider yourself like the money coach, because it's not just taxes. Like you help with the whole thing. And that humility thing, right? I'm like, I don't need to really, but it was said to me multiple times. And the one time that it stuck, I had a couple, she's my favorite client. She really is. She heard me on a podcast, and I was talking about emotional intelligence and the psychology of money is what I was talking about. The psychology of money. And that it's not just as simple as saying 1 + 1 is 2. What money you make is the money that you spend, and 1 + 1 is 2, right? Sometimes you have to ask yourself questions about your money. Why do I spend the money that I do the way that I do? What is my money philosophy? What do I believe that money is here for? Because that will, if you ask yourself the right questions, then you'll get to the root of why you live in paycheck to paycheck. Like really, why your account is always going in a negative, why you don't have certain things in place. It more than likely has everything to do with what you believe that money is here for. And so one of my favorite clients reached out to me because she said, I'm in charge of our money, and they made great money, like 6 figures. And she said, but we never have any money, and I don't know why. So it's easy to look at somebody's budget, see where they spend their money, and say, okay, well, tell me about this, tell me about that. Or to say, you don't have enough money coming in, you got too much going out. That's really, that's easy.
Basic budgeting.
Right. But that wasn't their problem. It wasn't that they had money coming in or didn't have enough money coming in and had more going out. That wasn't their problem. Their problem was why they were spending money the way that they were. And it wasn't until I had the husband sit down, he put so much trust in her with the budget that he wouldn't answer any questions. He's just like, okay, do whatever you think. But she had this anxiety because she was raised with this perfectionist. So she didn't want to make any mistakes.
Gotcha.
And when life happens sometimes, which you know it will, right? We can be the best planners, but life is still going to happen. You're going to pop a tire or whatever. He will blame her. So she's stuck in this perfectionist mode. And it was a whole bunch of other things, but not until I start asking questions. And I said, tell your husband he has to come and sit in the next session. And I said, it's great that you trust her, but she doesn't feel supported by the trust. You have to come sit at the table and understand why she's making these decisions.
Right.
So she feels supported. Then she can still run it, but you got to understand why she did 1, 2, and 3, so that if number 7 happens, you can say, well, okay, you can see why the decisions were made.
Absolutely.
And then uncovering some stuff for her. She spent money with certain things, and I just kept asking why. Okay, well, what is that about? Okay, what is that about? Okay, what is that about? And it wasn't until we got to that very bottom layer that she realized that she was spending money to prove something to people that she didn't even need to prove anymore. And that line item on her budget went away because we uncovered, not because the simple math in and out, right? Is the psychology of money. And so in addition to that, and she still sings my praises, like it's been a year and a half, and she's like, you have transformed my marriage by having my husband sit down and just talk about how he can support me in running the money. And then for her, asking her those questions, it's freed up things in her. She is a totally different person.
Wow.
And so in conjunction with that, I started noticing that some of my clients, tax clients, I would get them back $7,000, $9,000, $13,000 at the tax desk, but you could tell, and they get their money back and they outside and they traveling and the crab boils and all the things, right? But you can see that life starts changing. Come on, where's the free school supplies?
Money gone next month.
Anybody know where the backpack giveaways are? I need help with uniforms. And I'm like, wait, something is
Definitely wrong.
If you get $10,000 and 4 months later, you looking for help to get school supplies or backpack assistance. So I made the decision about 3 years ago that I was going to holistically help people. Let's sit down and talk about money, period. Not just taxes. Okay, but what happened if you die today? You got life insurance? Okay, we got to fix that. Okay, what about if something was to happen? Do you have an emergency fund? How much money you got sitting to the side? And I found people in all different walks of life. There's people that had $15,000 in a shoebox under their bed. There's people who barely was on Monday evening and need to borrow money to get to Friday morning. Just the whole gamut. People who was side hustling and taking that money and using it to pay bills, which is fine, but the money coming in Cash App and Zelle and Venmo and all, just all the things. And so I've rebranded myself as a money coach. I don't care what your money issue is. I don't care what you're trying to do. I can help
You got you.
I
You
can
got
help you.
them. Okay.
I can help you.
I like that. And the biggest challenge you've had thus far, just connecting to people who have money problems, especially in our community.
It's a challenge that I can recognize because I just stepped out of it. Many of us don't believe, and we may not say this with our mouth, but we don't believe we deserve to live no better than how we living.
Wow.
Always struggling. I can pay my bills. That's good enough. Don't want to be the one in the family that makes it. Yeah. Getting people to believe that it's okay for you to want more.
So there is a God, and there is a tax strategist / money coach.
Money coach.
Money coach,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so talk about, if give a little piece of advice to those who have those challenges, right? What advice would you give them to make it easier for them to connect with you or anybody about their money, their finances, their situation?
One of the things that I love to do when I teach a workshop, and I usually open up with this, because money's not the easiest conversation to have. That's not the easiest topic to address. And so I put it out there before we can even get started. I've made every money mistake that you can make, probably twice. Got a t-shirt and a poster at the crib, right? Filed bankruptcy. The payday loan people knew my name. I think I probably paid those people about $1,500 for a $200 cash advance loan. Because you can just go put $25 and then wait 2 weeks and then you pay. They knew my name. If I was running late, they knew I was coming. Cars repoed. I had a car. My daughter thought that our parking spot for my car was behind the school that I worked at, up by the playground, because the tow truck couldn't cut that corner.
You was hiding the car.
I was hiding the car.
You was hiding the car.
Hiding the car. Hiding the car.
Okay.
Maxed out credit cards, the whole nine. There's nothing that you have done or are sitting in right now that I cannot identify with. The difference between me and you is that I got strategy a couple years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I learned the rules of the money game, and now it's just my job to pass that information forward. And so I think when you can look at a person and feel like they're not going to judge me, because won't.
Absolutely.
That I can be transparent, because you cannot get, I was going to say deliverance. You can't move from one place to the next if you ain't going to be honest about where you are.
That's right. That's right.
Ain't no judgment here. You got to be transparent, and whatever the solution needs to be for you, if I ain't got it, it's in my tool belt.
Okay.
I promise you, it's in my tool belt. I got a banker. I got a financial advisor. I got whatever it is. We need to set up an estate, because you going to come into some money. I got a estate attorney. You could get it here. You could get it here.
Okay. And where exactly can we get it?
You can find me. Follow me. All the things. My website is beautiful. You should go see it. KimberlyJanelle.com. You can find me on Instagram, the Kimberly Janelle, and on Facebook, I am Kimberly Janelle Martin. I think I'm Kimberly Janelle on LinkedIn too, but yeah, very much accessible. Email me, Kimberly@KimberlyJanelle.com.
So I have one last question that we always asked our guests. What is in your bag? What is your biggest asset or gain thus far?
Oh, my mindset. My mind and my mindset.
Okay.
There is absolutely nothing that I can't do.
I know that's right.
And I believe that. Like it's not something, I done the whole affirmation thing, and because that's what you're supposed to say and it's supposed to make you feel. I believe that now. And I see the difference in how I move, because I truly believe it. And ironically, when you believe it, and you walk in that space, doors open that you never would have
Absolutely.
thought would open. But it's because I know that I'm supposed to be in certain rooms, and the door's gonna open.
That's right.
The right door is gonna open,
Mhm.
right? But if you don't believe that you deserve more, that you are brilliant, that you add value to the world, then nothing will change. So that's my biggest asset, is my mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
You heard it here. And by the way, congratulations on your wedding.
Thank you.
So we know that there's two reasons why you walk in the way you walk in.
Come on. Come on, being loved well. Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
ma'am.
so it has been amazing talking to you today.
Thank you for having
I
me.
love. Every time I see you, every time we chat, it's always a good time. So
Yes,
hopefully we can connect again soon.
we will.
We will. So again, this is Kimberly Janelle, the money coach.
The money coach.
/ tax strategist.
I love it.
I won't let you let it go.
That's okay. That's okay.
Of Kimberly Janelle Enterprises. So thank you for coming by. Thank you for tuning in to Get the Bag, Business Assets and Gains, where success is in your bag.